I'm going to explain to you guys about a technique that's taken from a book, a teaching book, Evidence-Based Teaching, by a man called Jeff Petty. And I'm going to talk to you about a group work technique that's supposed to really improve reading. And I've tried it in other years and it does, okay? It takes a little bit of explaining to do. It's similar to the sorts of stuff you've done already, but slightly different. Okay, you need a group of 6 for this, ideally. So a few people might be moving around in a minute. And it's a technique called Reciprocal Teaching. And reciprocal means when you give something, you get something back. Okay, and that's the idea behind this, so that everyone in the group has to give something. They have to put an effort in, and if you put the effort in, you get a lot back. You improve your reading, and in fact, this technique has been shown to improve grades by about 2 grades if you do it consistently and get it right in your group. Right, okay. When you sit in your group of 6, a teacher is appointed. Okay, so you will need to appoint a teacher. And this teacher, in this case, will say for you to read the text that you're supposed to read. In this case, it is a poem, isn't it? So the teacher will say, read a poem. You can say, the teacher can make a judgment as to whether you read it silently or you read it round the group, okay? You see how you go with that, and you can agree as a group what you want to do, okay? Once you've read the passage, the teacher goes round the group and asks everyone, what is it about, okay? What is actually happening in this particular piece? And the teacher will listen to what people say and try and summarise them. And all of you, as a group, try and come to a group understanding as to what the actual passage is about, okay? You need to do something called clarifying. You need to look at passages that you may find difficult in the actual piece, the poem, and you need to look at them carefully together, and the teacher needs to say, well, what do you think this is about? So the teacher's not only saying what is it about for the overall text, they're looking at specific lines, specific words that are difficult, and saying, going round equally, saying, you know, so-and-so, what do you think this is about, okay? And once you've clarified and come to some sort of agreement on what it's about, then you move on to the next thing, which is to predict perhaps what might happen next in the next poem you might read, okay, if you're doing poems. But if it's a story, you might predict what's going to happen next in the story. Or if it's a newspaper article, non-fiction text, you might think what's going to happen in the next article or the next bit of the article, okay? If it's a long poem, break it up into pages. You know, do the first page first of all, then think, well, what's going to happen next in the next page. And then finally, you go round, the teacher goes round and just evaluates how well are you reading, okay? And everyone gives an honest answer, say, well, actually, you know, I found this really difficult. And you need to think together, what could you do to improve your reading? I need to look in the dictionary a bit more. I need to reread a particular section, okay? And that is the end of the first cycle, okay? Next thing that happens is a new teacher is appointed, the person sitting next to that teacher, and they say, right guys, we're going to read the next poem, or we're going to read the next bit of the passage that we're doing, okay? And then you all read it, and then the cycle starts again. That person, that teacher says, right, what is actually this about? And everyone tries to say, right round the group, everyone has to say what it is about, and you come to a group understanding about what it's about. You summarise it in your own words. The teacher summarises it for you as well. So, you know, for example, if Matt's listening to Georgia, he might say, you know, oh, Georgia says so-and-so about this particular poem. Thank you, Georgia, let's go on to Flo, or whatever, Flo, and you say. So you come up to a group understanding what it's about, and you clarify misunderstandings. And then, once you've clarified the misunderstandings, or you've gone over difficult things, you predict what might happen in the next piece, and then you evaluate, okay? And the cycle goes round.
With the eye gaze of complete despair, I live here. Twice on Sunday, the bells start in the sky. 8 great tongues affirming the resurrection. At the end, they soberly bung out their names. The yew tree points up. her life really. But it's kind of, she makes it seem really dark. She says words like blackness and darkness. She talks about the night time, which I think makes the whole poem seem quite like the poem that people don't understand. Oh, I don't understand effigy. Should we get dictionary? Come on, Jack. Effigy.
Statue or model of a person.
So the face of effigy is like what she's supposed to be like you said about her.
Maybe it's like cold, statueless, motionless, you know, made of stone, you know, hard skinned.
I think she's talking about her mum, because she talks about in Medusa, and Medusa is also about stone pieces of stone.
So her mother is cold and tender.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how she describes her mother.
I think she's going to talk about herself and her feelings, because that's what she does in most of her poems. She's going to talk about her depression probably.
I think I'm quite good at picking up the imagery, but I don't think like looking at the actual lines might like initial like when you initially read it, I don't think my analysis is so good. I think once I go through it afterwards. So I have to. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think, yeah, because first time round it can be seen that you don't really get sometimes what it's about, so if you read it again, you can understand it more.
I think if we look back at the other poems as well, then we can see the similarities and differences, so we can see like what's going on with Sylvia.
Bye.